If you are bringing kids to Disney World that have food allergies, it can feel very overwhelming and honestly sometimes scary because the last thing we want is for our kids to have an allergic reaction while we are on vacation. So in this video, we're gonna go over my best tips for bringing kids to Disney World with food allergies. So let's get into it. So to start off, I do just want to say that I'm not going to get into all the different things that kids can eat at Disney World with certain types of allergies. All kids and everybody have different levels of tolerances and all of that. So I'm not about to get into all of that. It's really just tips that you can use when you are traveling with your kids with allergies. And if you are an adult with allergies, you can also use these tips as well. So Disney World is one of the best places that you can go if you have food allergies. They are so good with these things that when you go to a restaurant, you can literally talk to the chef and discuss what options are available. They can even make certain things for you if they can, or they can even go to neighboring restaurants that are close nearby and get food from there as well. And also at the quick service restaurants, everything has a menu on the My Disney Experience app, and it lists an allergy menu, usually at the very bottom of the menu description. It will show all different menu items that are safe for certain types of allergies. Now, one thing to consider is that you really need to be careful because if you don't have like major allergen, like like the top 8 they talk about. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you already know about all the top 8 and all that kind of stuff. They usually focus on the top 8 allergens. They're not really going to have menu items that have lesser known allergies. And another thing to think about too is that, like, for instance, my son has a soy allergy and he is so sensitive to it that he also reacts to soy oil and soy lecithin. And these are items that restaurants are not legally required to list those under a soy allergy because most people with soy allergies, they don't react to those things. So that is something to keep in mind too, is to really make sure when you are ordering something or looking at something to really look and ask for the ingredients. So you can go up to the quick service, the person who's taking your order, and you can ask to see the allergen menu. And you really need to look at every single ingredient, just like you do when you're going to the store and you have to look at all those ingredients. Just because it says safe for soy allergy or safe for dairy allergy, whatever it is, make sure you really look at the ingredients so you can say, oh, wait a minute, my kid or myself, I react to that and it's not being listed as an actual allergen. So with allergies in general, anywhere you're going, any restaurant, you always want to make sure you're looking at ingredients. And this is what I love about Disney so much, is that they literally have a binder that lists the ingredients of every single item that they sell at their quick service location. So that is really, really good to know that you can literally just go up and ask for that menu. If you have any questions about anything that you're seeing on the menu, they have allergy specialists on staff that will come and talk to you if you do have any questions, which is really nice as well. So in addition to all of the wonderful things that Disney does to cater to those of us with allergies, I also like to be very prepared when it comes to especially my son, because not only does my son have allergies, but he's also extremely, extremely picky. So even if something, they can make something without his allergen in it, that doesn't mean that he's going to eat it, because my son is very picky. So if you also have kids with allergies that are very picky, you might want to consider bringing a lot of your own food. And this is really what I do for a lot of the time of our trip, is that I bring food. I know that there are certain things in the parks and in the restaurants that he can eat. Like, I know that he can eat Mickey pretzels. I know that he can eat Dole Whip. And I know that most restaurants can give us plain noodles with just olive oil, because he also has dairy allergies as well. So knowing that is that, okay, when we go out to a restaurant, I know that he can, if we're going for dinner, he can usually probably get a plain pasta dish. If he doesn't eat all of it, I'll have food back at the resort or in my bag that he can eat, that I can either bring from home or we can get a grocery order. So let's talk about bringing your own food to the parks and what that looks like. So I found that bringing our own food, especially because, like I said, my son is super picky and my daughter is too, even though she doesn't have allergies, but she still is picky. So bringing our own food to the park has really helped with a lot of meltdowns and disappointment from us parents having to spend the money on certain things that they want to try, or having to deal with talking to the chef, having them make a special meal and then my son doesn't eat it. I just always feel so bad when that happens. So I really like to just avoid all of that and bring my own food. And the most things that I like to bring are kind of like, especially baked goods, because even since my son has soy allergies, it's very, very hard to find, pre-made foods, especially in a grocery store or at the parks, especially like dessert type stuff, because like I said, he has a dairy and soy allergy. So it's very hard to find both of those. Sometimes you can find one or the other, but so those are the types of things that I will literally spend a week before it's time to go, and I will make a bunch of things and I will freeze them and I will bring them with us to Disney World. And the way that I do that is I have a cooler backpack that this will act as my husband's personal item when we're on the plane. And the great thing about that is that on the way home, we are not bringing that food back with us. So that acts as an additional bag that we can use for like if we buy souvenirs or if we have anything that we need to just like stuff somewhere, that bag is now empty for the way home. So that works out really well for us. So I will make, like last time I made a whole batch of French toast, a whole batch of muffins that my son can eat. So basically anything that he can eat that I know he loves, even if he's gonna have French toast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like that's okay. I just wanna make sure he's gonna eat something. So I will make a whole big batch of it and bring it in the cooler bag. Now you are allowed to bring ice packs in your cooler bag as long as they are frozen through TSA. So that's another reason why on the way home, you're not going to want to have to do that, because if you're in a standard hotel room, you don't have a freezer. So there's no way to get those ice packs frozen to bring them through TSA. So I always just put those used ice packs into the check-in bag on the way home. I like to put them in like a wet bag, or something just in case that they bust or whatever. So that is how I bring food with us. And sometimes if the food doesn't need to be cooked, like there are certain brands that my son can eat, so I will pack those usually in my personal item just so they don't get crushed in the suitcase. But if there are a lot of store-bought items that you or your kids can have, like especially if you have a gluten allergy, like there are so many things that are gluten-free that you can find in grocery stores. And if there are some certain brands that your kids can have, before your trip, you should look into which grocery stores, or if there's a Target or Walmart that sells the certain brands, see if they have them stocked in Orlando, and you can get a grocery delivery straight to your hotel room with all of those items that you can use while you're at the parks for your kid. So that really makes it so much easier to have very familiar items that they can have. It also might be a good idea to join maybe like a Facebook group or watch some YouTube videos of people that have the same allergy that you or your kids have, and see the foods that they recommend, especially if you haven't been there before or you don't go often. There might be some new things that you can try, or you might find out that some of the things that you've tried in the past are no longer there. So it might be a good idea to see what options are available. Now, you really can't look at allergy information online, unfortunately. And the reason for this is they say that things are changing all the time. So I do appreciate that that if they do change their recipe and they haven't updated the things on the website, you might think that this one item is safe. And then when you get to the park, you're not checking because you checked online and they could have changed something about it. Like they could change the oil that things are cooked in or anything like that, that they're not going to quickly update on the website. So it is important to know that a lot of times you really have to wait until you're there to look at all of the ingredients that are listed on the menus. And that also goes for those Facebook groups and the YouTube videos as well, is to make sure you're looking at the date that these things are posted. So if you're looking at something that was posted 6 months ago, those ingredients could have changed. So it more works in the way to get some ideas and things to look for when you are in the parks, because it can get very overwhelming. There are so many food items in Disney World, throughout the parks, throughout the resorts. Sometimes it makes sense to know what to look for, where you could see something like, oh, this person suggested this really good dairy-free item. I'm going to go search it out, but still look at the ingredients when you get there, but at least you know to search it out. So that can be very helpful as well. It also might be a good idea when you come across something that your kid can have and they try it and they like it, to maybe order a couple more of them and bring them back to your resort with you. Obviously, if it's something that will go stale, or, if it's something that needs to be really refrigerated, like a dairy item or frozen, that's obviously not going to work. But if you happen to come across, let's say, like a muffin that they're selling and your kid likes it and they're allowed to have it, and it's especially if it's in a park and you're not going to be able to get back to that park further in your stay, it might be a good idea to order a couple more of them and keep them at your resort. So it is a great idea to bring some food storage containers with you. And now I have ones that are collapsible that I will link down below. We absolutely love these because they're collapsible, so you can bring them into the parks with you. When they're done eating, you can collapse it and put it in your bag. It's easy to travel with. So I will link those down below. They have really been a lifesaver for us, especially for instances like that, where it's like, oh, my kid really loves this, this item, and they only sell it in Magic Kingdom. And I'm not going to be going back to Magic Kingdom. So let's get a few of them that we can bring back to the resort and eat throughout the week. So that does it for this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if it helped you out in any way. Don't forget to subscribe for some more Disney World tips and tricks. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.